Hi, I'm George West, and I'm here with some friends, some old friends and new friends, and we're talking about missions, specifically a mission to Haiti. Let's just start from your left to your right, I guess it would be. And this is Kimberly Lawson. And next to her is Linda Lahr. Did I pronounce that correctly? And then Chad Barker, and then Ashley Patton on the end here. And Chad, I was talking about. Let's see, was I gonna ask you first on the trip? Just tell us the first. What we were discussing off camera is that you have things to overcome. Anytime you're doing for the Lord, you think it's going to be just a bed of roses. No, there's always going to be things to overcome, but it's always worth it. And so, Linda, just tell us about what happened. Something happened to the bus, broke down.
Yes, on the way up the mountain, which is about a 3-hour trip from Port-au-Prince up to our village area where we're headed, called Jacques-Mal, we travel, the main team travels on a bus, school bus. And this is a very, very well-used school bus that they were on, which you would expect in a third world country. And about halfway across the mountain, we were still climbing. The bus just couldn't go any further. It wouldn't go any further. We realized that there was a serious issue with it. So the team got off the bus, and we had maybe an hour before nightfall. And we were still about an hour and a half from our destination of Jacques-Mal. So we began assessing the situation, and I was blessed this time to have a team that was a very spiritually mature team. And we were praying and seeking God's guidance in what we needed to do, because we had a lot of luggage, a lot of supplies that this is a medical trip, so we had a lot of medical supplies that we definitely had to guard and get over to the hotel. There was not enough extra transportation to handle everybody. So it became evident that the ladies probably needed to go over to the hotel as soon as possible before dark. So they all loaded up in the back of the pickup truck that we have, the Isuzu pickup truck, and we headed over to the hotel. We didn't abandon the two men that were with us, Chad and Richie. Stayed behind with our security guard, mentor, to guard the luggage and wait for a tap-tap, which is not like an Uber. A tap-tap is very different than an Uber. We don't know what kind of tap-tap was coming after them, but everything loaded. They were about 30 minutes behind us in making it to the hotel. It was dark, though, when you guys got there. Yeah, it was. So we looked at that, and we looked back, and even before we started the trip, the team realized that we would be challenged, and that those challenges were already known to God, and that all we had to do was seek His face and get the right answer. So we were blessed with that to do just that. Now, I left with the ladies. I didn't have to stay behind. So Chad has the rest of this story.
Okay, so Chad, you're in a third world country, one of the poorest countries on earth. It's dark, and your bus is broke down. Pick up the story.
The tap-tap was a truck. It was a truck. And so anyway, Richie and I had never met before. We were total strangers. I mean, we had said hi to each other, and that's about it. So here we are, two strangers on the side of the road in Haiti, nighttime, which is a big no-no to be out in public. So anyway, Richie and I became best friends within seconds.
That'll do it to you.
I don't think I've ever trusted a stranger so fast and so quick, So anyway, yeah, the tap-tap came in, and we got the luggage loaded up. And the funny thing about this is, it was a single cab pickup truck. So they opened up the door, and Richie got in, and it was bucket seats. It wasn't a bench seat; it was bucket seats, 2 seats in the front. So Richie got in the middle, and straddled the gear shifter, and they all just started laughing. And they said, no, you sit here in the passenger seat. And he was like, where's Chad going to sit? They said, up there, on top of the luggage, on top of the truck.
Oh, my.
And I'm like, okay. Ye of little faith, get on up there. Yeah, so, a mentor and the bus driver. And neither one spoke English. The tap-tap driver did not speak English. So we were at their mercy. So we trusted them too, really quick. And needless to say, we got there. It was no big deal. I mean, it really wasn't.
Okay, I want to ask Ashley a question. Ashley, tell me what was the highlight in your mind from your perspective of your trip, and tell me what the trip was for. It's for medical missions. Is that correct?
Yes, the trip is a medical mission trip. So we do clinic through the week, and so of course that is the major highlight of this trip every time is serving the Haitians that come and see us, and we always see usually over 200 patients, and we've had a couple of years where we've had 2 prescribers, and we're seeing almost 300. So obviously that's always going to be a highlight, and that we help many. And but we talk about the bus ride, but it is really the thing that's kind of stuck, I think, in all of our minds. This trip, all the trips I've taken, this was my 6th trip. Like, we just had so many hiccups along the way in this trip, but it's usually just smoother. But it is kind of a highlight because it really just allowed God to be there with us, give us the peace that we needed, and show us that I've got this, I've got you. And when we got off that bus, we immediately looked up in the sky, and there was a huge, beautiful rainbow, full rainbow. There had been no rain, and it was right there as soon as we got off the bus. And I said, look, guys, God's got this. It's okay, And so, even though it was like maybe one of the harder parts of our trip, it was a highlight. So, yeah.
Okay, Kimberly, I'm going to ask you, and be thinking of people that touched your heart. I know that you all probably were there. There was one child or one person that touched your heart that you have because they're always. I used to do mission work in Mexico, and I can identify with this bus story. I mean, for it to happen in Mexico is dangerous. For it to happen in Haiti is really dangerous. So. I think there's some angels helping y'all. But Kimberly, just tell me a highlight to you.
Oh gosh, there's so many blessings throughout the trip. So many people that you don't ever forget that stick in your mind. Like, you go back the next year and you're looking for these people, and there's many nights you lay down to go to bed here and you're like praying for these people that you've met, and you're just wondering, how they are. And this year, a lady that really is stuck with me is a lady that just had a really, really high blood sugar, that had a very young baby with her. And you just think about things that could be taken care of here. It's not so easy there. I mean, her blood sugar was, you couldn't even read it with with testing. It was off the charts. And of course, she was taken care of to the best of the ability and given medications, and we asked her to come back the last day to check her again. But things that just are possible here through the medical that's available all the time is just not always possible there, and your heart breaks. I mean, you get back and you're just like, I have hot water, I have a bed to lay in, I have the medicines I need, and it's right at my fingertips, but these people don't have that.
Well, I'm just going to have Kim continue because she blessed me just watching her with the stand. Talk about
there is a little boy that I guess it was 2 or 3 trips ago. I went in on a Christmas Bible school kind of thing, and my older son, he was I guess 16 at the time, went in too, and we selected kids to do like a Christmas play. And there was one little boy we wanted for sure, and the teachers were like, no, not him. And they wouldn't let him, they were telling us no. But I really pushed more than I maybe should have with the translator to find out why can't he be part of this? And they told me that, that he was slow and he was just different and he had some problems and he couldn't do it. And I said, no, he can do it and we want him to do it. And so they did let him, but then I would just see him every time. It was the first face that really seemed to pop up to me in this trip. Yet again, I saw Stanley standing out at the gate that stayed shut, and just really felt led to check up on him with, to have the pastor maybe even check with the family, things like that, and had my translator ask for the mother to come. The mother came back, I guess, the next day. Long story short, they were in need of food. The father is extremely sick and unable to work. And Richie, who Tad had mentioned earlier, and I put together money and sent them along with money to get a big bag of rice and oil and things like that. But it was God. It wasn't anything I did. It was just God made it known. And the translator later said, he said, they really needed that. They really needed that. Thank you. I'm like, no, it was God's way of providing for them. It was just through us while we were there. And I think God does that on every trip. It's really not what we're doing necessarily for them. I mean, it's really more of a blessing for us, but God always shows us exactly what's needed and the people who need it. I just think it's amazing how he works over there. And I will say why. I mean, you don't have to be anything medical to go on this trip, because I help Ashley with pharmacy and could not take your temperature if I really had to, unless it was digital.
But
give me a highlight.
The highlight for me, and I've been going in with teams for 25 years, the highlight for me is just to see these returnees who come back, and they get to know and actually become part of Haitian families in the village, because we return to the same village area. We've been working there in this particular village of Brema for 10 years. So we have had weddings, we have had babies there. I mean, it's just amazing how close-knit we can become. And in my recollection, and you guys correct me if I'm missing anything, right now we have some of these team members and others who've gone in who are helping to sponsor one young man from the village through medical school, another young lady through medical school in Port-au-Prince, another young lady through nursing school. And they've all expressed a desire to use their talents in the village area of Brema. So in the future, for me, I see God getting us ready to do a clinic on that compound that will be open, that we can at least dispense medications throughout the year when we're not on the field there with them. So it's just a blessing to watch the teams mature, to watch the people and the relationships build. And I think that's what God wants. He wants us to be connected. These aren't just feel-good mission trips that you go on once in a lifetime. These are people that really care and genuinely care, and the Haitians care about them. With social media now, we are able to be connected a little bit with them and check on things and what's your prayer request and what is it you need. And that's the blessing for me, just to see that evolving and seeing God take it to areas that we didn't even believe with the Agape mission.
One of the cool things about going on a mission trip is that you realize that you've been in a kind of a cocoon in America. You have been blessed above about any nation on earth, and you go to a third world country in Haiti. I have not been there, but I can just imagine what it's like. And I would like one of y'all to comment on this, or more than one. But when you first went on your first trip, what surprised you about the poverty, about the difference there? Was it something about, lack of running water, or lack of food, or lack of technology? Just something that kind of shocked you and made you glad that you got back when you came back to United States. Anybody got a comment on that?
I think the biggest shock for me is here you run into pockets of poverty. And you just keep waiting for there to be a middle class or to see even an upper class or something, that the poverty never runs out there. You never reach an area that is better than really where you were. Like that, I think that was the biggest shock for me. Was I kept thinking, well, we'll get out of like downtown, we'll get out of this area. It's like that all the way.
I think a trip probably 3 or 4 years ago when the mom came in with 3 kids and they were all emaciated. Dr. Freddie asked the mom, have you eaten recently? And she said yes, 3 days ago. But she had made the children mud cookies. That's what they ate. They get the clay mud and bake it and give it to the kids just to fill their bellies. So, needless to say, I have the teams bring snacks for lunches so that we don't have to go back to the hotel. And our snacks and lunches all got contributed to, plus we purchased food for the family. So those kinds of things happen. It's reality there. Malnutrition is one of the leading causes of death in infants and children. So we see it firsthand, and it's really a desperate situation that they're in a lot of times.
Is there opportunities to actually lead kids or people to Christ there? Do you have like a pastor or somebody, or I'm not saying it takes a pastor, but would anybody like to comment on that?
Sure. That's the main reason that Agape Christian Mission is in Haiti, is evangelism. So when we take teams in, we're taking them to a compound. We have 3 different compounds. Our main compound is in Vraiment. Vraiment is the mother church. We have a large building that we do medical mission in that is our church body, and it's 120 feet by 70 feet. So it's a large building. It's been built earthquake safe, hurricane safe. It has a senior pastor. There's 25 associate pastors now within our complex, going out into cell villages and establishing little community churches that will feed into the main church at Vraiment. So last year we had 200 baptisms within that family of churches and cell churches. So yes, we're seeing God change people, and we're seeing the whole face of that community. Our senior pastor, Yves Regaliard, is a Haitian American, and when he and I met about 15 years ago, he told me, after we discussed what the vision of Agape was and what he could do to help us, he believes that God gave us the southeastern coast of Haiti. So that's where we are, and that's where we are permeating at this point. And yesterday I got more video of young men being baptized. We know that this is one country that Satan still controls outright. And there are people there who have voodoo priests. Once they do convert to Christianity, the families get threatened with violence. Their kids are threatened, but they still come because they've never, ever felt the hope that they have found in the Christian environment. So we're in the process now of building a Christian community outside of the walls of our compound and relocating some of those families that need to be relocated. So we've got an area of Christian houses that are to be built by churches here in the States that are raising the funds to do that.
Well, we had a technical glitch a little while ago and our battery ran down, and I got to know these folks a lot better and their hearts and this mission, and it's just really touched my life. So we're going to have to do this again, and we're about to wrap it up. But Chad wanted to say something else.
Talking about what people can do as far as contributing to Agape and to any mission. I was one of those people who said, why go to Haiti whenever there's so much here in the U.S. we could help, people or whatever. And that's probably the most common question I get is, why Haiti? Why not stay here and work? The inability for them to get help, that's why we go to Haiti. Here in America, they have access to help. If they really want it, they have access to help. In Haiti, they have nothing. They have nothing at all. So I know there's a lot of people who question why we go to, or why any missionary goes to Africa or to Haiti or wherever. That's why, because they have no access to help. It's them versus the world, and that's it. So that's it.
Jesus, at one point he said he said, I never knew you. I never knew you. And they said, why? And he named off things. And those things involve getting in people's lives and helping other people, visiting people in prison, missions, helping people. And so I just encourage that you would get involved with Agape Christian Mission. And I want to thank you so much for being here and for what you do. And we're going to have to do this again sometime because I'm just getting to know y'all. And we really appreciate you watching today.